Hey, hi friends. I hope you all are doing great. Friends, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Cloud with Mohsin. And in today's session, I am going to discuss about elastic load balancer. This is a theoretical lecture. So we'll talk what is a load balancer and what are the different types and what is the provision and the use of each of the load balancer in the AWS. So let's get started. First of all, this is the index that we'll be discussing today. So as I discussed, I will be just walking through first on what is an elastic load balancer, then what are the different types of load balancers. So we have basically three types: application load balancer, network load balancer, and classic load balancer. Then we will talk about error 504, which is related to when using the classic load balancer, and then we will summarize it. Okay. So let's talk about what is basically an elastic load balancer. If you see this diagram here to the right side, you can see this is the symbol of load balancer, and it will be the incoming traffic gets balanced or distributed through various EC2 instances using this service. So elastic load balancer, which is also called as ELB, is an AWS service that is primarily used to distribute the incoming traffic across the various AWS EC2 instances. So as this diagram depicts, so this is the incoming traffic. So load balancer will distribute it across. It got some intelligence and it will distribute to the various EC2 instances here. So in this case, we have three EC2 instances. So this load balancer will distribute the traffic. So there will be different algorithms like weightage and all those things. So this is the functionality or features of the load balancers. So the ELBs can be public or private types. So in this case, so it will be either, say, if the traffic is directly coming from the internet or it is public. So in that case, we can call it as a public webs in elastic load balancer. Otherwise, this ELB we can, as per our architecture, we can ensure this is not facing to internet, and that will be internal one. So we can call it either as a public type or private type. Public will be if this is directly facing to the internet, like my traffic is directly coming to the internet to the load balancer, then it will be public load balancer. And instead of that, say, if this load balancer is placed somewhere in the architecture so that it's not directly facing to the internet, then it will be our private type. Okay. Yeah. Yes, the same. Even if we use it internally, then even in that case, it will its main function is to balance or distribute the traffic that is incoming. Okay. And one thing to note here, when we are using or when we create a load balancer, it will create a DNS name. There will be a name or the DNS name, and there won't be any IP address. So if we want to distinguish or refer to the load balancer with respect to AWS, so there will be a name that will be created post the creation of the load balancer. So we will see that when in the upcoming session or the demonstration. So today is just a theoretical part. Let's move to the different types. So as we have discussed, there are three main types of the elastic load balancers: application load balancer, network load balancer, and then it will be a classic load balancer. Let's see and let's discuss each of these in detail. So the first is application load balancer. Basically, application load balancer, or in short we can call it as ALB, are mainly used for load balancing of HTTP and HTTPS traffic, and it works at the application layer. That is, there are it's a seventh layer. So I hope you are aware of OSI model. So OSI model, it got 7 layers. So it is physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. So the application is sitting at the seventh layer, and hence the application load balancer operates at this layer, which is seventh layer. Okay. So the application load balancer has got some, if we say, if the requirement is to perform the advanced traffic distribution, then in that case we can go for the application load balancer. Okay. So we have some features like, say, like sticky sessions. So sticky sessions basically say, if we are going to load balance, if say if my load balancer is distributing traffic to 3 different EC2 instances, and for some reason I want this load balancer to go to only one EC2 instance out of those three, okay, it should allow, or it should like traffic to go to only one particular EC2 instance. So that is called as sticky sessions. There are some features with which we can ensure, okay, the traffic is just going to, even it will distribute, it will go to the only one particular instance, and it will not go to, say, for your other two EC2 instances. In that case, we can think of and make use of the application load balancer. And on top of that, the application load balancers can perform advanced intelligent decision making. So this is a smart load balancer among the three. It got some features like intelligent decision making and other features. So again, we will see in the demo session when we'll discuss in detail about the application load balancer. So main idea is when we need advanced load balancing, then we can think of the application load balancer. Moving to the next point, it is our next type of load balancer, that is network load balancer. So basically network load balancer operates at the transport layer, which is the fourth layer of the OSI model. Remember the application load balancer operates at 7 layer, which is application layer. However, network load balancer operates at transport, that is fourth layer. So I would recommend, if you are not familiar with the OSI model, please go through that, and if you have further details, you can write me in the comment section. So I will be happy to assist you with that. And the main idea of using the application, network load balancer is when we need extreme performance. Say we need to balance. So basically, this is used for balancing of the TCP type of traffic and with the extreme performance. So this network load balancer can handle millions of requests per second with ultra low latencies. So whenever we have a requirement where the extreme performance is the need, or as per design it's need a very extreme performance, in that case we can go for the network load balancer, and it will use TCP based traffic and operates at the fourth, that is transport layer. Okay. Moving to the next point, that is classic load balancer. So basically the classic load balancer is legacy and no, it's so cost effective. So out of these three load balancer type, if we want for the basic load balancing, we can think of the classic load balancer, and it is also very very cost effective. It's but the disadvantage of the classic load balancer is not that much smart or intelligent as compared to application load balancer. It doesn't have much features, and it performs just basic kind of load balancing traffic. However, it can also load balance HTTP or HTTPS based traffic as well as TCP based traffic. Only the reason, like say, when we need a basic or effect basic load balancing requirement, then we can think of the classic load balancer. It doesn't have much advanced feature, or it doesn't have intelligent decision making. It cannot do that as compared to application load balancer, and even for the performance, it's not that much performance. It's that it is not that much performant as compared to the network load balancer. So for your basic load balancing, you can think of classic load balancer. Then talking about error 504 or 504. So when we are using a classic load balancer that we had discussed in the previous section, we can see this error is error 504, and basically when we see this error, so it indicates an issue from the application end. It's not the issue from the classic like load balancer side. So basically, like if you refer to my previous YouTube video, which was about like two-tier architecture. So we have some tiers, like say web tier is there, then database tiers are there. So in that case, whenever we use, say we are using our classic load balancer and with our two-tier architecture, and if we see this error, that error 504, so that indicates there is some issue from our application side. We need to troubleshoot whether, say, web tier there is the EC2 instances are running and available, whether our database tier is working operational. So this is something we need to troubleshoot from the application side whenever we see error 504. It doesn't means there is some issue from the load balancer end. Okay, so we need to troubleshoot the perform the further troubleshooting steps from the application tier end to resolve this issue. Now talking about summary, so we just discussed today what is the elastic load balancer. So basically the elastic load balancer in AWS service, it's basically a service, an AWS service that can help us to distribute the traffic. Say I have to distribute my traffic across 2 EC2 instances or 4 EC2 instances equally, say for example, then I can use my load balancer in front of those 4 EC2 instances, and I can place it either to the facing to the internet, or I can make it as a internal traffic. Okay, so public or private type, I can either way I can use it. So the main function of the load balancing is to balance or to distribute the traffic across multiple EC2 instances. Then we discuss about there are total three main types of the load balancers. First is application load balancer, another is network load balancer, and finally it was classic load balancer. So when you will go for application load balancer, say you have some requirement for the advanced routing requirement is there, or you want the it's like smart or intelligent decision making requirement is there, then we can go for the application load balancer. It operates at layer 7, that is application layer of the OSI model. So please go through the OSI model so that you can understand what is OSI model. Then with network load balancer we can achieve extreme performance. So we have seen it can handle millions of requests per second as well as along with the ultra high latency. So if that is the requirement, then we can think of the network load balancer, and that operates at layer 4, which is transport layer of the OSI model. Then finally the classic load balancer is used for basic and cost effective load balancing. It doesn't get any other smartness as compared to application load balancer, and it's not even that much performance as compared to a network load balancer. So it's a cost effective and can be used for basic load balancing. However, it also supports HTTP, HTTPS based routing or traffic as well as TCP based traffic. It can be used for that. And finally we seen error 504. So basically this is error 504, that is when we are using a classic load balancer, then we can see this error 504, and it simply indicates there is some issue from the application side. Application tiers might be having some issues, and that needs to be troubleshooted accordingly from the application end. So this was a short session guys, and that was all for today's session, and thank you for your time. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my official YouTube channel. It is Cloud with Mohsin, and I wish you a very happy learning. And in case you have any comments or any queries, just feel free to write down in the comment section, and I will be very happy to assist you with resolving your queries. And in the upcoming sessions, we'll be planning to present some of the demo for classic network or application load balancer. So let's see in the upcoming session. So please stay tuned. Take care. Bye bye.